Right. Hi guys, welcome to another TFF panel show. It's Saturday, 28th of April, Season 3, Turn 3. We have Kev Wright, Man U. We have Keith
Hello.
Blackburn. Hello lads.
How
Hello.
you doing, Rob?
Yeah, I'm good. Well, I'm not good actually. I'm a bit under the weather, and unfortunately Nick pulled out last minute because his daughter's not well. So
Fair enough.
hope she's all right. And this is how it goes. People pull out, and we just have to. The show must go on.
Kick on.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't got a clue what I said to you both now. I've forgotten what the agenda was.
It's lucky I checked earlier on then.
I've not
I
been
think it might be
I've not been well,
TFF.
but carry on. What was point one? I can't remember.
How the season's gone so far, I think
Right.
it was. Talk about the season so far.
Go on,
Yeah.
lads, off you go.
Right, Kev,
Over
you
to you,
can go
Keith.
first.
Oh, you want me?
Okay.
All right, okay. Which I'll go. I'll go first. Yeah. Well, 2 games in. It's kind of difficult to predict much from that. How it's gone for me personally, can't tell much from that either. I've had a 2-0 win and a 2-0 defeat to Man City. Interesting things that I have noted. Liverpool, I thought would have had a better start than this because I think they're going to be challenging for the title. They haven't won yet, a draw and a defeat for them, but I expect them to bounce back. Maybe a surprising one considering how everyone was saying, well, yeah, they bought old players, got promoted, then did the same the next season. Third season they'll struggle is Wimbledon. I know we don't like to give credit to them too much because the manager's probably not who he says he is, but 2 wins out of 2 and top of the league. So it's looking like they're at least going to be able to compete there. In the other divisions, again, it's difficult to say who's going to do what. Two underachieving teams for me have been Wolves and Cardiff, and again, both of them it's a defeat and a draw each. So, yeah, it's kind of tough to predict anything, I think, at the moment. But from a personal point of view, I'm reasonably happy with the start, I suppose.
Keith?
Yeah. No, yeah, just looking at talking about Wimbledon there, I was kind of having a bit of a laugh to myself as well. But you see, they got 37 million investment as well, and that frustrates me a little bit, if I'm honest, like, because, you know, I got promoted as well, got nothing, like, you know, yeah, my value is higher, but their ratings have been much higher, and they've made a lot of good signs. But it's hard to knock him, in fairness, though. You know, Division 4, I know he mightn't be who he is, but he's doing a good job with his tactics and his results. It's as simple as that. Like, he's gone from Division 4 to Division 3 to a possible contender in Division 2, to be honest. You know? From my own point of view, it's going to be a struggle, I think, this season. Like, you know, I think, one of the worst 3 or 4 squads in the league. And a couple of injuries and we're in trouble. We've a chance of staying up, but it's going to be very difficult, I think, to be honest, Rob. Everyone thinks I'm joking, but I'm not.
People always gone about how difficult Division 2 is, though.
Well, that's the thing. Division 2, there's a lot of very good managers and teams in it as well, so that's the thing to take into account as well, like, you know. So we probably overachieved a little bit, actually, last season. But at the same time, I'm delighted we got out of that division because that Division 3 looks mental this season as well. It's a lot of very good squads in that division. So
It looks stronger this year, yeah.
I think so. Reading, obviously, Rail Reading, and who's the other team? We've got Richie of Fulham, obviously.
Fulham,
We've Sheffield United, we've Chesterfield, we have Port Vale, arguably. They in Division 3, Port Vale, yes. There's a few other sides as well, but I can't think.
Wolves are in there.
Yeah. They should be going for promotion.
Sheffield.
Cardiff have been huge.
Did you say Sheffield United?
They met Sheffield United. Cardiff have been a huge disappointment, has to be said, though. I mean, Division 3 for Cardiff, you know, decent sized stadium. You know, where are they going to finish? I don't think they'll get playoffs, will they?
Well, it's difficult to know. I think 2 or 3 of the sides mentioned there, I think, will do well. Reading should really do well. I can't imagine them not doing. It'd be a very big surprise. And Sheffield United as well. The others, I'll come to a couple of the others in a bit actually, because it was the other point that Rob sent through yesterday to look at. So I'll come to that in a bit. But yeah, could be, you can kind of see who's kind of who's taken action, who's done stuff in the pre-season to try and get better, and who hasn't really done as much. So I think the ones that have made the improvements, you sort of know who they are, and it's a team that's mentioned. And what are Northampton going to do as well is the other one.
New manager, yeah. The only thing is, coming back to Division 2, Barnsley have started with 4 points from 2 games, and their squad is actually weaker than my squad, to be honest. And they did finish 8th last season. So there's a kind of a thing where you'd look at that. They're a benchmark in that sense. Barnsley. They've overachieved big time. And they've started reasonably well, and I nearly guarantee Mick won't go down because he's excellent as well. So, so Barnsley are a team in Division 2 to kind of really give credit. I think he's been undervalued as a manager in a way. Some people said he's a good manager, but I don't think some people quite get how good he actually is when you look at the squad compared to others in Division 2.
Yeah, I mean, there were calls for him to be sort of thought of as, when you're looking at the manager of the season votes.
I was really considering him as one of the top 3, I think. Yeah, definitely.
Rightly so, what he's done there. But then what happened in Division 2 last season is that the promoted teams did really, really well. So I can't remember who I voted for then. I can't remember if it was Gillingham. I think I voted for Gillingham because that's an even small team. They got promoted and then narrowly missed out again.
Yeah.
Right, so that was point 1. What was point 2?
Interesting games to look out for this weekend.
Right.
Well, I think there's one that stands out in Division 1, isn't it? Chelsea and Arsenal. Is that right?
Yeah.
Chelsea and Arsenal in Division 1.
Yeah,
that's a stand game, obviously.
Draw.
Something got to give. I don't like sitting on the fence too often, so I'll go with Chelsea. Obviously. No, but I think they're the champions, and they've started really well again. They've 6 points. They won the first 2 games comfortably. Arsenal, I think, have 4 points. So, they've had a good start as well. Like, there's only 2 games gone. Whoever wins or loses is not going to be a title decider. But still a huge game early on, isn't it?
I still think Chelsea have got the best squad, best starting lineup in the division. So I've got to say Chelsea win there as well.
Especially early on when there isn't that many injuries or suspensions or players tired or anything like that. You'd probably go with Chelsea. But I wouldn't rule out Arsenal either.
All right,
talking about you're going for a draw. Going back to what you were saying about it being early on and not being able, and perhaps not being able to tell stuff. I think a few people are still sorting out formations and stuff because they will have had players come in, especially the likes of the guys who did well in the SMFA competitions. They would have got all that money, 30 million, I think, for Watford and so on. Yeah. They would have had players coming in late, so might still be trying to sort that out. So it's you can't tell sort of whether they're the finished article just yet.
Yeah, but the thing with Chelsea is they've carried on the same tactics and formation early this season that they had last season. That was successful. I think Ben changed it slightly from the last game. I think he went 4-4-2. He wasn't really 4-4-2 often last season, as far as I know.
No, well, he was.
He did win.
Yeah. He'll love you saying that. Well, Ben last season he was playing the 4-2-3-1 with wingers wide formation, and claims Chelsea. He claims Chelsea copied that, and that's how they won the league. So that's why he's changed his formation
to see if that goes well. If that goes well, he'll see if Chelsea copy that. I think that's the plan there.
Maybe so. Well,
But he done well last season, but he lost a big lead, didn't he? But we won't go into that because we're talking about this season, really.
Yeah. The other game for me in Division 1, I think the sort of relegation battle. We don't really know who's going to be in that yet. You could say perhaps the teams that have just come up, particularly Wigan being the smallest.
Yeah.
There are a lot of teams that could get dragged into that, but at the moment you don't know, so you don't know quite what's going to be the critical game. Whereas the sort of top 4 places and Championship top 6 and all that, you can kind of tell who those teams are going to be or who they should be. And 2 of them playing tomorrow as well, which is Watford and Man City.
That's an interesting one. Yeah,
I think
there's a bit of pressure in City early on if Watford win that, and he's flying there. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, there's pressure on City anyway, and we all know that, and Craig knows that. I was checking out their starting 11s or their strongest 11 players earlier on, and there's not that much in it.
He got rid of De Bruyne. De Bruyne, I think, was one of the best, and you get rid of him.
He did, but he got 2 players in return. He got Ericsson and I've forgotten who the other one was.
Boateng.
Who was it, sorry?
Boateng.
Is this Bayern Munich?
The defender, Boateng.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. So I can't see you, but I can hear you. I don't know what's going on with the connection. No.
I knew he liked Boateng.
So I'm not complaining about that.
Cheeky bastard. Keith, can you see me?
No, just laughing. I can, yeah. I'm just laughing because I knew he liked Boateng from that, was it the Cup final preview video, wasn't it? Kept mentioning his name.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Signed him. Yeah. And I suppose with Ericsson, though, it's not a bad deal, actually.
It's not, actually.
Boateng for De Bruyne. Like, Ericsson will go up in rating, definitely.
And
it's not a bad deal, is it?
No,
it's not really a bad deal.
It's actually a good deal. Like, he gets a defender who can play right back, centre back.
It's a tough one. Let go of De Bruyne, though.
It is.
It's not one of his worst deals, put it that way.
Well, I tried to buy De Bruyne and he wasn't budging much there, so it would have taken a decent deal, and I think he got one. And he, what City really needed was defenders, I think, as well. He's got attackers, but defence was a bit weak, and he's
He still has loads of players out in loan that he could have sold and made a lot of money for, and use that to buy, I don't know, Vidal or someone. I know people say...
I'm glad he didn't, because I got 2 of them.
Really? Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot on loan. Yeah, and I actually managed to nick one as well in the end. Niang from him as well.
Say, Keith, don't tell Mrs. Doubtfire. She won't be happy. I'm going to have words about Mrs. Doubtfire later, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Good stuff. Can't wait for that, actually.
I'm really sorry, lads.
She's looking at me over there.
I'm really sleepy and groggy, so just you 2 battle on, and I'll.
That's all right. Well, so Division 1 games in Division 2. I did have a look earlier on. I didn't make notes, so let me just look this up online again.
I have 2 phones on the go here.
Yeah. There were.
Is that because you're a manager, Keith?
Yeah.
You got deals going on.
Unfortunately, no money. I'm like Conte with the board now. Like, I'm complaining of no money. But anyway,
right. Kev, are you doing? Are you doing this panel show in the Man United laundry room?
Yeah. No, I was just saying to Keith, I've had Mrs. is watching telly downstairs. So I've come up and I'm sat here on the floor with the laptop on the bed. So yeah, it's the Old Trafford.
It reaches new heights every week.
The Old Trafford honeymoon suite. This is division games in Division 2. Getting back to the point.
What have we got? There's Middlesbrough, Wimbledon. A bit of a standout game.
It could be. I was gonna. I think it's more important for Middlesbrough than it is Wimbledon. So I think Middlesbrough really have to try and prove something. And if you look at all teams in TFF, including even me at Man United, I think Middlesbrough have perhaps got more to prove, because they've got relegated once and only
they almost got relegated last season.
It went down to the last game last season. You can't let that happen again. But coming up against that Wimbledon side, I looked at their team earlier on, and it's a strong team in terms of rating.
A lot of high-rated players. He's 37. He could bring in Czech. He might go down in rating, but to 91? That's still quite good.
I think he's 91 now. I think he can.
Oh, sorry, he's 91 now. He might go to 90 then. He might stay 91 though. It's possible, isn't it? Or is it?
He might well do.
The Europa League.
If that you're going to say, gets the Europa League.
So yeah, but there's not too many probably standout games in Division 2 this week, really, is there?
Well, the one that stands out for me, a relegated team meeting a promoted team, and that's your team, Keith. Blackburn against Brentford. That was a bit of a standout for me because Brentford obviously didn't do.
Oh, I thought it was away. I'm just after checking there. So good thing I didn't get any buses organised or anything.
Yeah. Cancel the private jet. Yeah, get your own. Because I'm not sure how Brentford are going to do yet in Division 2 this season.
Mid-table, I reckon.
Yeah, I was looking at them. They're strong, but they're not. There's definitely stronger teams than them in the division. They're not like Hull and Sunderland, where you'd expect them to be in the top two. Really,
right,
they're a bit off that. Sorry?
He has a strict age policy, doesn't he? So he's playing a long-term game.
So yeah, no, but that's fine if he finishes mid-table with Brentford. Like that's fine. Like he done to get them up last season before. Like it was ridiculous.
Well, it was one of Laffy's teams, wasn't it? Or was it who was manager of Brentford when they went up?
Oh, wasn't Doc who got them up? Was it?
No.
Okay. Oh no, it wasn't. Sorry.
It was one of the fake ones. Yeah.
Sorry,
so and that was the usual.
Are you saying Roland Rats wasn't his real name then? Is that what you're implying?
I doubt that's what's on his birth certificate, to be honest. But maybe he changed it by deed poll.
Well, you see, this is the thing then. People are just lying to me, barefaced lies. He assured me he used to work for ITV on a breakfast show in the 80s, so, and I took him at face value. This is what you get. You try and be honest with people up front, and they just lie to you.
Do you know how often at primary school I just used to get called Kevin the Gerbil, who was Roland Bratt's assistant, just because my name's
you
Kevin.
Know that's going to turn up in the bongs now, don't you?
Well, it already did in season 1, talking to Roland Rats and stuff. I mentioned that, but yeah, I'm sure it'll turn up in the bongs. Fair play. I'm not against that.
Richie brought the bongs back last night. Is there any chance you can get involved?
It's a possibility. Yeah.
They were brilliant, by the way.
I'll do some surprise bongs at some point.
Yeah. Okay, lads. Division 3, Division 4 key games up.
Division 3.
Where are we going first? Division 3, because
Division 3. Cardiff Wolves.
Well, that's the one that I was going to say. You've got two teams who have perhaps underperformed. Cardiff, I think, certainly have. Wolves, I would have thought they'd get promoted by now. But what I've noticed pre-season, Wolves have strengthened. Wolves have brought in a few players. Cardiff haven't really. They brought in a few youth.
Wolves have Fred, don't they?
Yes, and he's just got +2.
Up to 90 from 88.
Yeah,
so,
14 million.
Have a look.
That's a big thing in many ways. Yeah, exactly. He could end up selling him eventually or whatever and get a good deal for him and strengthen again, or just keep him and he's 90 rated.
Well,
so
I'd keep him because
I'd keep him to sit here.
I'd keep him because I think he's going to get a big move.
I think he definitely will leave Shakhtar. Man City's been muted, but
I'd keep him.
I'd keep him definitely. Yeah.
Well, I heard something. I mean, you could say this about every player, but Man United were linked with him earlier this week, but they're linked with everyone because that's what makes headlines, isn't it? But looking at Wolves, 3 90-rated players there. 1, 2, 3, 4 89s.
Well, Kev, you are Man United, so you can confirm that.
Yeah, we're not looking to buy Fred, I'm afraid. I doubt he'd get in the team ahead of someone like any of them, actually. Belotti, but whoever. Belotti? Verratti. No, Verratti, I meant. Yeah.
Right, on to Division 4. Anything there?
Oh, hold on. I had another one that I wanted to have a look at in Division 3. Hold on, let me find the bloody table again. Fixtures.
Yeah.
What other one caught my eye? Yeah, Fulham and Port Vale.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
I missed that for some reason. Yeah, Fulham, Port Vale for sure.
Well, both of these teams have sort of looked at their squads. Both of these teams are going to really need to get as many points on board as early as they can, because both of them have got players who are going to drop in value. When that is, you're never quite sure, because of the reviews are pretty inconsistent. But certainly, if those that are playing in the Big Five leagues, they'll be reviewed May, June, so halfway through the season. So I think that those two teams, transfer bans aren't up until June, July for a lot of these players. They're going to need to get points on before they get decreases.
Yeah, so it's looking like Real Reading are going to win this league.
They're the strongest team.
Top two for sure. Certainly top two. I'd nearly say Fulham with them, I think. The only thing is, if Wolves show their second half of last season's form and bring that into this season, they could be up there as well, around the top two.
It depends with Fulham. I mean, someone like Fonte they've got, for example, well, surely he's going to decrease in value, but when are they going to review the Chinese league or whatever? I don't know. He could keep 90 for the whole season.
He could do, yeah.
Lichtsteiner they've got, he'll probably decrease. Lucas they've got, he'll probably go down one, maybe.
Lucas Levy. No, which Lucas?
Yeah, that's it. Lucas Leiva.
Will he go
Liverpool.
down? Will he?
Yeah, Martin Skirtle, he's got there as well.
The Juve fullback's been getting game time.
He has actually.
Not that much. I mean, he's 91 rated. I can't see him holding that.
Probably
He might well do.
Having said that, 90 would still be pretty decent.
It would, yeah.
You know,
but
so
I think both Fulham and Port Vale could get a few, 3 or 4 players decrease in value. So
I think half his players will be decreased before the transfer bans are even up. So.
Well, maybe, but then he likes to buy and sell. So as soon as their bans up, he'll be selling them whatever, I think.
Yeah, he does. I think he's Harry Redknapp. But,
Hammer Redknapp.
Hammer Redknapp, I like that, yeah.
Well, on to Division 4.
Right. 4, what have we got here?
I think
Seven ends, in fairness.
Keith, give it a rest.
Seven are top as well, I see.
Not for long.
Not for long.
See,
no.
this...
That's a good game, though, I think. Crew and Southend. Really, Crew 6 points as well.
Both on 6 points.
Yeah.
Crew again have strengthened in the last few weeks. So I think they could be in contention this year. Southend, Rob's done well with the loans, as you mentioned. He's got better loans than anyone there, I think, and some decent players in. But of course, he'll play the whole thing down, despite being title favourites. And with Thumbs here, he was quite right. I can't remember exactly how he put it in the news feed, Rob, but he said that you're going to be the ones to beat. And I know you're just going to say, no, we'll be lucky to avoid bottom 3. But no, you've got to be favourites there. But then I think Division 4's always been the least predictable league.
I think it's much tougher this year, though.
Right.
Sure.
I'll speak now.
Go on then.
Go first.
Because I can get it all. I can wrap it all up in about 3 minutes, and I can include Thumbs. So Thumbs is pissed off because I've got a couple of loans, and Thumbs always pissed off. And some people think it's all sense of humour and banter, and he's just getting into people's heads. Ali said to me today, he's getting in your head. He's not getting on my head. It's like a fly that won't go away. It's an irritant. Now, he's not getting in my head because I picked the same tactics for the first 2 games. I didn't listen to him. I didn't change it. I just went there and we beat him. I would say I'm more in his head because he's always talking about my team. He was obsessed with it and that. So that's my point with Mrs. Doubtfire. But with this fat old bitch that's managing Doncaster, all she does is negative. She's like a moaning old tart. So as far as I'm concerned, RIP thumbs because Mrs. Doubtfire is managing Doncaster Bells, and every single time that fat tart keeps moaning in the news, I'm going to come and hammer her down. Right, that's Mrs. Doubtfire done with, and I sincerely hope he, she, whatever it is, fails. And that's not banter. I don't like them. I hope they fail. And he can stick Crob up his arse as well. Right, so now we're on to Southend. I'm not going to get promoted. And I'm not.
Well, shut up.
No, I'm not, and I'm not going to play it down. This is what's going to happen. Southend came 11th last year, and I will probably improve that because I'm.
Oh yeah.
If I make the playoffs, I think I've done well. But I'm not going to get the top 2. I'm not even going to probably win at Crewe tomorrow. I've got players unfit, and I don't play unfit players. So I'm going to rotate the team, and I'm going to try and hit him on the break tomorrow. Hopefully he doesn't see this video before the game goes.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
I'm actually changing my tactics, and I'm going to play a different formation.
Or are you?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
You'll see tomorrow. I'm not lying.
Double bluff.
And that's that. But then it's daft what you're saying about Southend, the best team in the league. We're not. And I urge anyone who's got remotely interested, just go and look in Division 4.
They're not the best team in the league. I think Shrewsbury.
Go and click on Carlisle United and their squad
Luton.
value. Go and click on Shrewsbury. Go and click on Luton Town and look at their squad and their stats. Go and click on MK Dons. Go and click on Doncaster's value and look at Doncaster's value when he's got a ton of risers coming. And without being really negative and cynical, and Cheltenham under Michael Hudson, Southend are not the strongest. We're not even in the top 6. So if we make the playoffs, I'll be happy. And what I'm doing at Southend is I'm not chucking in loads of old high-rated players in. I'm trying to do it slowly and gradually. And very rarely when you're doing that, you're going to be in the top 2. That's just being realistic. But I will...
I think
yeah.
If you didn't have those loans, you'd be in big trouble, I think.
Absolutely. Those 3 loans, I've got 3 killer loans.
Big time.
And those loans will enable me to be competitive. But my starting 11 is good. But below that, there's very little there. It's very thin. And as you'll see tomorrow, I'm playing Crewe, very good team. It's going to be difficult because I've got 2 of my 87s won't even be in the team. Now, Luton Town have got 87s in their reserves. They've got an 89 and then a host of 87.
I was looking at that today. Luton? Oh my God, I'm surprised.
So how does Mrs. Doubtfire come to the conclusion that Southend City is the biggest team in the league? What is that silly tart on? So
he's trying to win. Yeah.
Well, it didn't work, did it? Because I beat her, so she shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not here to be all polite and PC and just try and appease everybody because that doesn't work anyway. I really generally don't like Thumbs and I don't like Doncaster. I hope they fail. I really do. You're a wind-up. You're just a troll, Thumbs. You're an absolute troll. But a really bad one at that. A really shit bad one. Right? I hope you fail and I hope you come last.
Does he watch these, by the way?
Of course he does.
I'll make sure he watches this one.
Yeah, he has to watch this, yeah. No, I think, Division 4 is very hard, though, no matter what you say. Like, there's a lot, compared to last season, it's a huge difference.
I was going to talk a bit about Carlisle, actually, who
Carlisle,
sort of
listen,
earlier on.
There's 2 things, right? In Division 4, in Season 1, you had about 8 teams that were active. And it meant that, it meant really that if you were on it, you had a fighting chance. And I was competing with Sheffield United and Crewe. They were my rivals and Orient under Andrew. And other than that, the rest were pretty poor. But it's a different ball now. And what you got now is you've got someone like Damien, who's been manager of Carlisle for those 2 years. So he's in Season 3. He's had 3 seasons to get that team together. He's had all that time to develop his risers. You know, look at Ahmed. Ahmed has come in, no offence to Ahmed, but he's inherited a very nice team because Stuart Lauder was the manager at Shrewsbury and just basically put a whole youth team together, had a ton of risers, created value. Ahmed's just come in, sold a lot of them and bought quite high-rated players. Same at Luton. Nuno, we can slag Nuno off, but he left really good foundations at Luton. The other guys come in, flogged a lot and got a load of high-rated players. And
see, if Luton don't get promoted this season, they're gone.
Well, I think you can't look beyond Luton, Shrewsbury, Carlisle. And
Cheltenham.
And Mrs. Doubtfire won't like it, but when her risers come in, her team will be very strong.
Cheltenham as well.
I haven't checked their team, actually. I'll have a look now.
Have you not? No, I had a look there.
I think
There's
she's got
Rise.
loads of risers coming in
Doncaster.
from the French review. Check out
Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire, the bells. The French review will really push her up. And then you've got, Michael Huss, rated one of the best managers in SM. He's Cheltenham.
Yeah, I know he started poorly, but I wouldn't mind that. He'll be up there.
Lewis at Scunthorpe. Lewis is going to do a good job at Scunthorpe.
There's decent players there too. Yeah, there is definitely decent players. Had a look at him.
So I expect it to be competitive.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to play. I'm not trying to do an Ali Hayder. I will try and improve on 11th, but you've got to be realistic. We're not the biggest club. We're not the best club, and Southend have been pretty bang average for the last 2 seasons. I'm not going to just come in and I haven't got a magic wand. And
no, the reason why I think you might get a top 6 though is because you're a better manager than a lot of the other managers there.
Well, it's subjective. You might think that, but others might.
That's
not.
my opinion, though. Yeah.
I don't. Listen, I got stuff in my tea last week, so I don't feel like I'm a better manager. I'm a better manager than Mrs. Doubtfire, but that's about it. She's the worst manager in the world.
Well, she's under pressure.
I think Southend should be in the mix. I think you're going to be in the mix.
I'll be in the mix. I hope so, because I've started well, haven't I? But honestly, Mrs. Doubtfire posting, he's going to be 30 points clear. He's talking out his backside. He's talking rubbish. But
he's setting himself up for a big fall, or she, or whatever.
We have to put this in context as well. Everything I say is tongue in cheek, and I do chat to Mrs. Doubtfire on Facebook, and we get on quite well. But in the context of TFF, I can't stand her. I can't stand her. She's like a mosquito, pissing me off all the time.
Got to you. She's got to you.
No, she's
sounds like that.
She's irritating.
It's like Jose Mourinho and Arsene Wenger, isn't it? So you're saying, he keeps talking like me. He's a voyeur, just likes looking at other clubs. It's what Mourinho did, doesn't it?
Doesn't shut up, Kev. She doesn't shut up. Now, I would say I'm in her head because she's obsessed with me. She is going to sleep at night worried about Southend United and their loans. And look, I beat the slag, so she can shut up. Carry on.
Bristol Rovers.
That's it. That's Division 4 put to rights.
Yeah.
Bristol Rovers with 4 points from 2 games. What's going on there?
Say that again.
Has he decided to be active, or is it just luck, or what's going on?
I think he's forgotten to log in and fuck his team up.
That could be it, actually. Fair.
He'll probably go up and make us all look stupid this season.
And get a load of risers and yeah.
Good luck. Bristol Rovers, I've got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Top guy.
Yeah. He has a lot of young players though there that could go up, but I don't know when they'll go up.
Listen, this is the best manager in TFF, so what do you expect you to?
Exactly. Right? He has got Flamini there at 83, right? Flamini's gone that far down at 83, by the way.
Right. Let's move on to the big one, right? The viewers haven't turned in to find out about Mrs. Doubtfire and Crobb. They're not interested. I really hope people stop talking about Southend and Doncaster because neither of us are going up. We're not the big story. So the big story in TFF, without a shadow of a doubt, is targets, and it's caused a lot of controversy. I've been a focal point in this drama. So have you, Kev. So have you, Keith. And unfortunately today Nick pulled out because it would have been good to. I specifically wanted him on for this reason, but
yeah.
So first of all, how shall we do this? Because there's many ways we can discuss this, but I suppose the first thing is, are you in favour? Are you not?
I'm in favour.
You're in favour.
Yeah.
Kev?
I'm not really. No. I have nothing against that happening. It's what's happening in NYT, and I signed up for that from the start.
Yeah.
I think the reason that a few people are perhaps upset about there being targets brought in now.
Is it a few? Firstly, a lot, Kev? What's your?
Well, it's certainly not just me. No, there are people more upset than me.
Who? Who's more?
That haven't said anything.
Well, there are people who are refusing to set targets, for example.
Okay. I know exactly who you're talking about when you say that. Then.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of people at least that have done that, and others who've said they aren't happy about it. But anyway, I think the reasoning for that is because it's a big change to make, and it was done. I mean, we had a big rule change in NWO, and what happened there, because some people weren't happy and wanted this rule change brought in, is I put a post up on the news feed to get everyone's opinions, everyone's ideas, and so on, and I left it there for over a week. Kept bumping it to top and left it there for over a week. Then after that, I picked the 4 most commonly spoken about points, arguments, whatever, and then we had a vote lasting over a week. So everyone had a say in it. Everyone got to vote on it. It went against what I wanted, actually. I didn't want the rules to change, but everyone had a say. There's plenty of time for it. That hasn't happened here. It's just sort of been a quick Nick's back from holiday and he decided he's doing this.
Okay, so Kev, I'll sort of interject and then you can come back. So that was exactly why I was unhappy 2 weeks ago, for the same reason you're unhappy, because I felt I wasn't being listened to and we were shut down. Now, this is the God's honest truth, gospel truth. I was shut down. I did a panel show which went out with Warren, Dan Smith and Mark Stewart, and I was critical of Nick, and I was critical of Ben because I felt Ben was part of that, and I wasn't happy that if a decision's made that I don't agree with, I will accept it, because I'm not running the game world, and it is a democracy, and you have to accept you can't have your own way. But my attitude was, well, I don't agree with something, I don't like the direction, so I'm going to take the panel show to another game world. Rightly or wrongly, that was what I decided. But I wouldn't have left TFF because Nick didn't go along with what I was saying. Then, out of nowhere, Nick comes back from holiday, and Nick and Keith have been in dialogue, and Keith can now come in, and bang, out of nowhere, there's going to be some changes in it. And I must admit, I was surprised, because Nick hasn't spoken to me about any of it, so it caught me unawares. I'm obviously pleased that the changes are coming in, but I can understand, because I know how it feels to not have any kind of democracy. The decision was just made, so perhaps Keith can shed any light on that.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, I think Kev mentioned NYT there. The idea was it wouldn't be as strict as NYT. You know what I mean? I think Nick's idea basically was that he wanted to try and get inactive managers out, pretty much.
Keith, what's the reason for the sudden change? Because he did a U-turn.
What's the reason for that? I think he just thought about it. I think at the time he actually sat back and actually thought about it himself. And I think he probably thought he was a bit harsh from the previous time when it was all shut down. And I think he had a look at it and he thought about it and just thought, for the good of the game world, to move it forward, to keep it fresh, that maybe this was the right thing to do. But it's not. I think some managers are getting a little bit confused. A lot of managers seem to think that there'll be mass, like, you're sacked, you're sacked, you're sacked, you're sacked. You know what I mean? That's not the way it's going to go at all. You know what I mean? It's to give an opportunity for possible lower clubs to have a possible chance of managing a bigger club also. You know what I mean? So that they have a possible opportunity to progress.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean there, but I think that brings up 2 other points. One of them is people are getting confused because they think it's going to be this and that and whatever. But I think then it needs to be set out somewhere. We need to have written rules as to what exactly it is, because I'm not sure at the moment. I know that basically I've got to finish top 4 or whatever and have a much better season, or I'm going to be asked to leave. Other clubs have been told similar things. Some haven't.
Kev.
No one's really sure. And also certain managers have now come out and they've stated their targets. Other managers have said that they're not going to set a target. Most managers haven't commented at all. And also, I think some of the targets that have been set, top 12. Watford have said top 12. Southampton have said top 12. Well, they were 4th and 6th last season. So is that a bit of a cop-out? Are they being a bit lenient?
I don't. It's relative, though, isn't it? In fairness, if you look at Southampton, like, did anyone expect Southampton to finish top 6 last season?
No, I didn't expect Watford to finish top 4. No, but then
what we got here? Watford have come 4th, Southampton have come 6th. They've overachieved. So when it's relative. When you overachieve,
it has to be relative. to the size of the club and income and etc. and things like that as well. If this was season 10 of TFF and Southampton were finishing in the top 6 and it has a team maybe as good as, you know, some of the top 2 or 3 teams, which is possible after season 10, then it's a different scenario. Top 12 isn't enough for Southampton. We're talking about season 3 of TFF.
But,
in the very
so how about with Watford, the fact that they also won a cup? They got the money from that. They also won the SMFA Shield and SMFA Super Cup, and that's an extra 30 million they've got there, not to mention all the prize money and gates from the other rounds, which, fair enough, they're gold managers. I'm not, so I couldn't have a say in that anyway. But that they've got an extra 30 million. You know, that's more than they got more prize money.
I understand what you're saying, but when Watford, what they did last year was far and away they overachieved. They overachieved beyond.
They did brilliantly, but it's like I was saying. It's like I was saying earlier on, looking at Man City against Watford. There's not much between their squads, although their first teams. And Man City's first team, it's still not bad. I know people disagree with a lot of the transfers, but he's still got 95 rated players and all this.
It's not bad, but
let's stick with
it's not bad, but
deal with it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Another point. So what I want to say is this: Watford have overachieved, Southampton have overachieved last season. Now, you could argue that when you overachieve in anything, well, that automatically moves your expectations up a notch anyway. That's how clubs progress. What they're basically saying with the top 12 is, I suppose they're covering themselves, but they're saying that would be a bare minimum, and that's what we're looking at. Now, Kev, being sensible now, really, you should be in that top 4, and if you come 4th, you might view that as a successful season. In my eyes, and this isn't about you, Kev, this is Manchester United. In my eyes, Manchester United should be coming 4th bare minimum. That would be my bare minimum. And Watford, Southampton's bare minimum for them is top 12, because as Keith alluded to just now, we're only in season 3, and if you look at Paul's team in ratings, it isn't that high. Now, you've just said Watford's team ratings are high.
Watford's team's better. Paul's done really well with that team. They're not one of the highest rated teams, no.
So I think Southampton top 12 is a decent target. Watford's
for now.
Watford, you could probably say, should be top 10 now for where they are.
Yeah.
But really, I don't think it's fair on Noisy to say now we expect you to be top 6 or you're out, Noisy, when he's had the most amazing season you could possibly imagine at Watford. So I think top 10 is reasonable, and I don't think having achieved that season with Watford, Noisy's going to be in any danger this season. So,
no, I think context has to come into it, though. There has to be context, as I said.
Context.
As well as that, with Division 4, exactly. Division 4 teams, to be fair, shouldn't have to set a target in reality.
Now, what we're saying here, Kev, there's many other things going on here. We've got a few people obviously unhappy and are refusing to do the targets. Well, I could make the point that when Nick was shut us down a couple of weeks ago and we just had to accept it, other people weren't complaining then. So it seems to me that certain people will play ball as long as they are happy with the decisions being made. But ultimately, I was very disappointed with what Nick was deciding a couple of weeks ago, but I was going to stick with it. And this idea that I want to challenge people on this. This is TFF, but the TFF essence, the inception of TFF under IV was target-based. It was a target-based game world. Now, Nick didn't implement that. He didn't. So I take that point. But the very essence, as I understood it, and IV will be on hopefully next week, so perhaps he can shed light on it. The essence of TFF was target-based, and it was a cutthroat game world. And I honestly think what Nick's proposing is a compromise, because most managers are going to keep their jobs. We're looking at maybe 10% are in danger, and I think personally, for the good of the game world. But what do you think, Kev?
Well, talk about this sort of progression and managers not being able to get very far because their teams aren't doing very well, or they've got a team that aren't as big in whichever way you want to look at it, aren't as famous maybe. And we've already spoken about Watford, who in real life and at the start of TFF, they could have been one of the teams that are relegated. They're one of those teams that, if they have a really good season, they might get 10th. If not, they might get relegated. They're a sort of solid bottom half of the Premier League or Division 1 team. And Noisy's taken them to another level. It's not a fluke that he won a cup, for 3 cups if you count the SMFA stuff, and has finished 4th. And I'd expect him to be yeah, top 10, top 8 probably again this season, maybe higher. So I think he has taken them to another level. And then you say, well, yeah, fair enough. That's a Division 1 side though. But then look at Wigan. They were a Division 3 side, and they've already gone up 2 divisions. They're a Division 1 side now, and that's just we're only the second season in. So in 10 seasons, what can these teams do? Progression happens naturally in the game. Wimbledon have got 2 promotions, top of Division 2 now. Don't know where they'll end up at the end of the season. Leyton Orient as well, who were hardly the favourites for Division 4. They've got 2 promotions. So the progression happens naturally in the game with promotion and relegation.
If I counter that, I'll say that some of the examples you've used, they all achieved that success by buying the oldest, high-rated, ugliest sides that they could. And
that isn't cheating.
Sorry?
That isn't cheating. People talk about that like it's cheating.
Who said cheating? I never mentioned
Well, no one has. People talk about it like, oh yeah, they've done that, but they did it this way.
Let me finish my point. My point
Go on then.
That is their only way of doing it. So these managers only have one option to play to achieve any kind of success, to put together the most ugliest short-term teams possible. Whilst everyone else, by no skill, but by default, when the teams were handed out, like Smarties in Season 1, you have them and you have them. I don't think it's fair that we have to stick to that rigid structure. Just because Hammer and Nick gave you Manchester United or gave Craig Manchester City or gave someone else, that has to be the way it is. Now, Mrs. Doubtfire was chatting to me the other day, and she said she has a problem with people. Why can't people just stick with their clubs? If they're successful, why are they not happy? Well, my point is because a lot of these small clubs are hitting a ceiling, and they can see right now is okay, but they can see in the future. The game world, the market's going to dry up. The game world's going to get harder and harder to progress. And the reality is, Kev, if you're manager of Gillingham or Orient and you're getting gates of 8,000 or 9,000, it's very, very difficult to compete. And Wimbledon are flying and are still doing well, but at some point Wimbledon will hit a ceiling. Although I don't know when. But so the point is, if I think,
yeah, I mean, who are these clubs who have hit ceilings? We're only 2 seasons in.
Yes,
you know, in another 3 seasons,
Kev,
those could change.
But Kev, my attitude is it's not about what's happening now. I'm trying to look at the bigger picture beyond. What happens to TFF in a couple of seasons? What happens then? If there is ever no chance of progression for managers, if Division 1 is just a clove shop. I think people could get frustrated. Already I know in my head 2 top managers murmurings could leave, which is you don't want that as TFF. You want the game world to be fresh, to keep things on its toes. You don't want it to get stale. Right now it's good, but that doesn't mean that it's perfect. It doesn't mean that we stop evolving, and I think there's room for improvement. And I personally would like to see managers performing well, doing really well, having the option then to take on a bigger side if they want to. At least have the option. Doesn't mean they have to. But I think that option should be available. And that's what I'm saying.
A lot of managers, though, won't move. I don't think you'll move from Southend.
That's their choice, though. Give them the option.
Yeah, that's their choice.
Yeah.
And also, I still think you can. We're only in Season 2 of a game world. If you look at some, I mean, I joined a game world. We've only had 2 seasons. You know what I mean? I joined a game world last summer. I took over it'd been going for 7 years, and I took over a 2nd division team. I got promoted. The next season I won a cup. The season after that I finished above Man United. This was an English championship. A few people from TFF are in it. Noisy's in it. Smut's in it. He's not in TFF. The big team there was Man United. There's no squad cup. They had over 100 players. 3rd season in, I finished above them with Hull. So this is an old game world. This has been going for years.
Yeah, but is it competitive though? Yeah. Is it competitive? TFF is
it is. It is.
Cracking managers in it though.
It's a competitive world. Yeah.
I don't see how a game world you can compare a game world like TFF to a game world where a team's got over 100 players. It's chalk and cheese.
Well, no, because that team, by the sort of the theories here, they should be winning everything, and they were most seasons. They had a season where they perhaps underperformed, but lots of clubs had loads of players. I think I had.
Be comparing TFF to any game world. Okay,
but I'm just talking about game worlds that have been going for several years or for several seasons, rather than just 2 or 3. And there's still a lot of movement in those amongst teams. Teams get promoted and relegated. You can still do well as a manager.
You've got
What do you
managers
mean, not
clinging on to...
not where it counts?
No. The
What do
top,
you mean?
I mean that the top clubs, including you, should be accountable. There should be pressure on you.
But wouldn't it be boring if it was just the top 6 winning every season? And if, say, we find out who are the best 6 managers in TFF, give them the best 6 teams.
It would be.
Then,
but I don't think that's going to happen. I think
shove all the rubbish managers to Division 4, put all the best managers to Division 1. There's going to be no movement.
No, I don't agree with that. For a start, I think the recruitment's a lot better in TFF, and I don't think there are many rubbish managers now. I think the managers have got better and better. The standards have got better and better in each division.
They have, yeah.
And secondly, I don't think it's a problem that just because we expect the Big Six to be in the Big Six, I'm not saying to you that that's going to be the case and we're going to have them in the Big Six. But I'm saying good. Let's see 1 or 2 of them drop out, and let's have movement. Let's have new managers go in, have a try. If they don't work out, we'll try again. Let's have real life reflected. Managers change.
But at the same time, for example, by the second season, Man City shouldn't be finishing 11th, was it? 11th?
That was a shock. Yeah.
By season 2, like that's I see what you're saying in a way. You know, season 5, 4, 5, 6, whatever, things can change. There can be movement and that. But I think in the first couple of seasons, the big clubs generally should be up near the top challenging. Big budgets, big wages, or big, gates, and big players. You know, for the first couple of seasons, they definitely should be challenged to the top. And there should be an opportunity there. If they are struggling over a couple of seasons, there should be an opportunity that there's a chance that someone else could take over one of the big clubs, no matter who they are.
Now, some guys have automatically said in the past as well, even before targets were introduced, not me personally, managers have said I would step down if I didn't hit blah 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 blah. I personally would. I've always said that. I think I've proved that enough times. I would step down if I wasn't achieving or doing what I think I should be doing. And if I thought for a second, if I thought for a second there are managers in the game world that could be doing a better job than me and deserve it, I would step down and I would take a smaller club. That's just me. It doesn't make me a hero, but that's just what I would do.
No, but better managers can do jobs at smaller clubs, which is why we've had people like Watford and Southampton and whatever. I honestly don't see the problem with some of the big clubs even getting relegated. If you look at some of the Division 1 teams, there are teams going down the divisions who are big, got bigger grounds and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, go on.
It's not the problem that the club's getting relegated. I'll be honest with you, nobody cares if Man United get relegated or not. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would find it funny if you got relegated.
They would love it. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
not the point, Kev. The point is, shouldn't it be fair for other people to have a shot at that club? That's the point. The point is, the world's not going to end if you get relegated in TFF, Kev. And the game's not going to collapse.
It's not. Although people sometimes seem to make it sound that way.
The point is, if you're not not just you, anyone with a big club, not hitting their targets, then isn't it fair? And we're talking about being fair, fairness, equality. Isn't it fair that somebody has an opportunity to have a go?
Yeah, I think that needs to go right through the game world, though, if that's going to be brought in.
Is it not?
I think it is, though.
Well, is it? I don't know, because it seems to have been just the top clubs who've been asked to give targets.
Not true. If Reading don't go up, Ali's in trouble.
So Ali's likely to get sacked if Reading don't go up.
Keith, is that true? If Ali doesn't go up, he gets sacked?
It's definitely going to be in review, and the same with Wolves.
But I would think Ali would step down anyway. I don't think Ali...
Well,
possibly.
Has Ali given... Have Ali, as Wolves and Sheffield United and Reading given targets yet?
Sheffield United have just come up to Division 4.
They haven't actually...
Yeah, I meant Wolves, not Sheffield United, sorry.
Yeah. They haven't been given targets, but that doesn't mean they can't, just because they don't give a target, they can't be reviewed.
3 seasons to get out of Division 3 is plenty of time.
That's what I think as well. I think it's not good enough if you can't get one. Yeah,
and that's fair enough, but why is it that certain clubs are getting almost forced to give targets?
Because
I know what happened to me.
Because certain clubs are in a very enviable financial situation and have a big advantage over other teams. So those clubs are highlighted. Sunderland...
Yeah, I wish I had Watford income from last season.
Sunderland in Division 2 is one. Kev, you're honestly, mate, you're going on about Watford's income, but their gate
Yeah.
receipts compared to yours are a fraction. So how can you compare?
Yeah, but well, because they definitely got more last season from the SMFA competition. We don't get
Yeah, but
30
Kev,
million
that's the result of them
profit
being
in gate
successful.
receipts.
Kev, he didn't generate those funds. He's not given those funds. He generated it by
He got it being successful.
Hang on,
Yeah.
you're contradicting what you were saying the
No,
other
I'm not.
day
No, I'm not.
in against Ben getting all this, winning these competitions because it's only a handful of teams in there. All the other
Kev.
big sides in Europe are stripped to their players.
No,
This is
Kev.
what you were saying the other day, Rob.
Kev, let me finish.
Go on.
I'm not saying that Noisy's won an amazing cup. Well done, Noisy. I'm saying they're tin pot cups because for the simple reason, right? You go in that you're playing against computer teams which have been gutted, which is true. Real Madrid and Barcelona are not Real Madrid and Barcelona, and you might come up against one or two human managers. They're tin pot cups. They are way below the league, the cup, the shield, in my opinion, in terms of ability and skill to win it.
But they're worth much more.
For sure. What I'm saying is, though, if you win them, you've generated income. So fair play. No problem. Ben's done that. Noisy's done that. No problem.
Yeah. So my point is that Watford's income was a lot more than ours last season.
Yes, because he generated it through... Well, I'm not sure about that.
But I can't... I'm not a gold manager, so do I need to become a gold manager?
That's for you to decide, Kev. Noisy is.
I'm not going to give SM money until they sort out their customer service, I'm afraid.
You're entitled to that.
Yeah, but not being funny, but Man United's gate receipts are high, so you probably did accumulate as much.
No.
Kev, you get
not compared to that. Hey?
Your attendances are 76,000.
Yeah.
Watford's
so what do you get for home
20?
matches? Is it 2 million? 3 million?
It worked about, I think it was season 1, it was about 2.5 million, but we lost money on away games. So I think we made about 15 million gate receipts season 1. Which is, it's not knocking that, but...
Whatever it is, Kev, and I don't know exact figures, I'm pretty sure you get more than 2.5 million at home game. You get more than anybody else.
I think that was what it was at season 1. It worked out about 15 million for the season.
Well, I think you're going down a blind alley if you start comparing gates with Watford. Watford get a
not comparing gates. I'm comparing income, which is the point that you brought up there. But saying with my income, I should be doing this.
Yeah, but you're comparing income, but Watford have generated income through their success, through their good management.
Yeah, Watford generated income from the SMFA competitions, which they're entitled to do. Yeah. I'm not going to give this company money to do that.
Well, that's your decision, and you're entitled to that.
Yeah.
But also from finishing fourth, he would have generated a bit of money as well, so that's success.
Yeah, he would have got more money in the league, and and that's what I'm saying, which is how teams can progress. The higher you finish in the league, the more money you get. You'll get more seats in the stadium.
All true, and Watford have got a stadium expansion, but the critical point, the core point that I'm making, doesn't get changed. Managers deserve the choice, the option to have a go.
Yeah, but in other game worlds, and even ones that we set up together, the idea is to get in people who aren't going to quit clubs. They're not going to hop around clubs. They're not going to just quit. People who are going to stay and build teams. And I think the point with NYT, which I think could be a problem, is that people have got these short-term goals. Are they going to just go after them and not necessarily build foundations, younger teams?
There's teams doing that anyway, though.
Well, there are. In TFF, you mean?
Yeah, Wimbledon, Leighton Orient. Now, again, they've got results. I'm not going to knock them,
but they're getting profit as well, though.
Regardless of targets or no profit or no targets on that route, there's other teams that have as well. They've just done that successfully. But there's plenty of teams in Division 4 who, before this even came in, were building old, ugly teams, basically.
Yeah, so but is it worth...
3. Chesterfield in Division 3, look what they did. They done the same thing. They panicked. They wanted to get into the playoffs, and they bought all these old 88, 89 rated players. So I don't think that changes because of this. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I know exactly what you mean. But with Leighton Orient, for example, they sort of went the old ugly teams or whatever. They've done that, and I know Andrew bought in players. He bought in a couple of players just for the playoffs. Old ugly players who were high rated. Yeah. He got promoted, and he got 20 million in investment for getting promoted. So That's more than he would have started with in Division 4. It's making a profit. It's a different way to make a profit than buying risers and selling them on for a few quid.
Right? Yeah. No one's not him. The point I'll come back to is at some point maybe Andrew will fancy a challenge higher up. And
he's a Man United fan. He'd love the Man United job.
Well,
yeah.
You know,
but then he's a Man United fan.
Kev, another point I come to is nobody put a gun to anyone's head when big clubs were allocated. So I think if you take a big club in a game world like this, you accept the pressure that goes with it.
Yeah, fair enough. When this game world was set up, there was none of this. You have to do this, or you're going to be sacked, and whatever.
TFF.
In the original TFF, apparently there was. I was there for about a month, and I didn't see that myself. But I'm assuming. Yeah, okay. But there never was in this game world. And speaking to Nick personally, he said to me a few weeks ago. He messaged me and he said, I don't want you to leave Man United. No one's going to be asked to quit their team except Bristol Rovers. And so I listened to that and thought that's fair enough. And he said, that's never going to happen. No one's going to be asked to quit their teams. And he pretty much gave the reasons that I've given, that teams can progress, managers can progress with their teams, and it's no big disaster if big teams do go down.
Yeah. But then that's
etc. etc.
That's something between you and the people that agree with you and Nick, because ultimately...
Well, this was... I know what it's like when someone ignores the game world owners, whatever the game world owner says, or the rules of the game world. So I went with what Nick said as being the rules of the game world, because it's his game, and that's fine for me. I've always said, if Nick asks me to leave, I'll leave. I've been saying that for months.
Kev, can we just clarify, not leave TFF?
Well, whatever, leave Man United.
No, because in the past you've said you wouldn't step down Man U to go to a small club. You would leave the game world.
Well, yeah, I mean that was also how the game world works, and Nick told me that.
So if all right, let's play devil's advocate. Let's say you come fifth.
Go on then.
Let's say you come fifth. Let's put the question to you. You come fifth. Nick sends you the message. We want you to step aside. What decision would you make?
If Nick tells me to go, I'll go. I've said that for months.
Where, Kev, go where?
Not the game world.
Well, that's not necessarily up to me, is it?
Well,
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Nobody is asking you or anybody to leave.
No, I know that. But how then do people apply for the Man United job and then I get whichever team's left?
Well, there's
or what
to be sorted out.
Yeah, it's going to be. Could be a bit messy. I think.
An answer out of you, if that situation occurs, you would be prepared to take a Division 3, Division 4 team.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now,
we'll sort that out when we get there, if we get there.
To be honest with you, I actually think you will get top 4. I do.
Yeah, so do I actually. Yeah.
I'm expecting to. Yeah, I'm certainly hoping to, but I'm expecting to. Yeah.
And I know that
the one I'm not sure about is Man City, though.
No, I don't think Man City will, but I do think.
I think Craig's in big trouble at the end of the season, because I don't. If he doesn't finish top, what did he say? Top 4?
I don't.
He said top 4.
He said top 4. I think Paul said top 6 for him would be decent enough.
I would agree with that, and I think Nick said he would as well if he finished top 6, because he did win the league the first season. So this is where context comes into it as well, you know. But if he has an 8, 9, 10 season.
I looked at, you said about Liverpool made a poor start. I think Liverpool made a poor start because they won the Charity Shield and they went into the new season with fitness problems. I think Johnny will be fine. So I think the top 4 will be, I don't know what order, but it will be Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool and yourself. And I do think, Kev, you're going to have the bit between your teeth. You're going to be really determined, and I think you will do it. You've got a very strong team.
Yeah, I've strengthened the team. I had another point to make then, and I've forgotten what it was. Completely forgotten what it was. What were you talking about?
Last season, I think you had a very poor start actually, and you never recovered from it.
Shocking start. Yeah, but then so did Chelsea, and they went on to win it. Us and Chelsea both had horrible starts.
Yeah, but Chelsea copied Ben's tactics, so...
That's it, yeah. So I just need to basically watch what Ben does, and we'll be fine.
Unless he's struggling.
But, that's what I was going to say. For me, it's not about necessarily... it's the fact that we were so many points behind the last 2 seasons, so many points behind the leaders. You know, if we finish 5th and I'm only 9 points behind the leaders.
Yeah, that's where context comes
That,
into it.
that won't be a disaster. If I finish fifth and with 30 points off or whatever, like we have been,
That's
20
the reason why
off like the last.
Sorry, that's the reason why at the end of the season we review it as well, because fifth, you can have different positions in fifth if you like. You know, you could be fifth,
Yeah.
and you could be miles off the top four. You could be fifth, and you could be 5 points off.
I think Keith's being kind to you there, Kev. I would be still of the opinion you should be in that top four.
Well, I know you would, but
no,
for
I
me,
think you should be. But I'm just giving context. It's not. I'm using him as an example for other teams also in context.
Yeah,
well, yeah, I mean, I'm the one that's here. There's going to be other clubs in other divisions, I would hope, who are under this as well. So we're making this a Man United thing for now.
Well, I know Derby County have made targets. There's teams in Division 2 that have set targets, actually.
Right. Kev, something else now.
Right.
I feel, obviously, it's hard for you sometimes, and I'm not in that Facebook group now, and I don't know if you are, but...
No.
I think there's a danger to doing all these interactive stuff, and then it can cross over and become something toxic and personal. And I know you felt at times it's gone too far, and I know that some people feel that you bear the brunt of quite a bit. I've tried repeatedly.
Not as much as some others, but...
Oh, fair enough. Now... For me, it has never been personal, but I can see how you might take it personally. But for me, it's just you are manager of Manchester United, and this is a game world, and this isn't about you personally or you as a human being, and that's it. Other people taking it personally, I maybe, but I've not.
Other people get more of a slagging off than me.
Right.
I don't know, maybe because.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about the Facebook group, the news feed, or the panel show, or all three? What are we talking about?
Largely the Facebook group and the news feed, I would say.
Right. So the Facebook group I'm not in, and the news feed I try and keep a low profile unless Mrs. Doubtfire's winding me up, and then I'll respond. But the panel show I try to be as objective as I can. Occasionally I will step over the line, and I will apologise if I have. I can't do any more than that, can I? But
no, that's just fair enough. And you have certainly when I've been on and there's been criticism of me, you've not really joined in, and you've kind of asked. You've kind of played devil's advocate in the other way, if you like. Yeah.
And that's what I don't want to be sitting here proverbially kicking the shit out of people. First of all, I'm not the greatest manager in Soccer Manager, so who am I to even be giving out anyway? I win games, I lose games. But all I want is to enhance and add to the game world as best I can. And if people are feeling like shit, then something's going wrong. We're playing this game for fun, for escapism, and it shouldn't get to the point where people are feeling shit. Now, I know that, for example, the Sunderland manager is considering leaving TFF, and I hope he doesn't. But I have to be honest, I don't agree with his reaction that he's going to refuse to go along with the changes.
Well, in his defence, fair enough. That's just not a great way to react. But in his defence, there, he got relegated last season. But if we're taking into context that what you've done in the past, what you did the season before, well, he got a cup last season. He got promoted the season before, so. Surely he's got enough there not to get sacked, hasn't he?
It's a fair point. It's a valid point, and it's something we could have a discussion with. The opposite side of that is he inherited a team in 8th and they got relegated, which was.
Yeah, I was surprised at that.
And then to further go on with that, Sunderland get big attendances in Division 2. They're going to get big revenue, and they have got a Division 1 side in ability. So really, if they don't get in the top 6. Questions will be asked. That's all.
I think they will.
I actually spoke to Nick.
I think they will, Kev.
Yeah, I do as well. But I spoke to Nick and I said, look, every club is going to be reviewed at the end of the season. Simple as. It's just the way it is. You just review them. It doesn't mean that 80 managers are going to be sacked. In fact, probably less than 3, I'd imagine, chances. But his attitude was, regardless of what I do, I'm not leaving, and I refuse to leave. And that attitude is what got me. Not that we're going after you and we're going to make you leave. It's just that, why should he be separate to other managers who are reviewed? You know what I mean?
I think one of the things there is... Sorry, yeah, I think one of the things there again is that, like Nick said, no one's going to leave, and then a couple of weeks later, oh, your job's in danger. And that was kind of a sudden thing, and these plans haven't been laid out anyway, and they're not something which people had a vote on. I think that's one of the problems. And
okay, Kevin, I'll take that point. But then
yeah.
the sensible reaction to that is to not come out and say, well, I totally reject what you're doing and I'm going to do my own thing. The sensible reaction would be, right, let's have some dialogue and let's have some discussion. Now,
fair enough.
When Nick posted a couple of weeks ago that he wasn't making changes, and I was one that voiced that we should be, Nick posted in the newsfeed, I think we should respect the game world's host and whatever he decides. They were his words.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it seems to me what Nick's words really meant were we should respect Nick's decisions as long as they fall in line with what I agree with. And that is selfish. That's selfish.
For example, with the squad cap, it's 40, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is everyone under 40? I don't know if everyone...
I think
personally, I don't agree with that. I think it should be 30, but people vote 40. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's okay. Grand. Done.
It doesn't affect me. I don't think I've even got 30. But
yeah, well, that's the thing as well.
Keith's point is,
28.
And I have been frustrated at times with different things, but you know, you have to accept them, I suppose. That's it. Because I mean, Nick's name is on the game world, so ultimately he will have the final say. But I am a firm opinion that the community game world, because so many people contribute to this game world and make it what it is.
Yeah, and that's all fair enough. But it's just the fact that it changed overnight.
Then that's something that
no consultation.
That you and perhaps the guys that are along your line of thought should have a chat with Nick about, isn't it? Because
I mean, the other thing was that a lot of this discussion and a lot of the arguing and stuff was all while Nick was away, and then he comes back and suddenly it's changed. So no one's really had a time to chat to Nick yet, I don't think.
No,
and I know Nick's busy anyway. He's quit a lot of
tonight,
the game world.
It's a shame he's not.
Yeah.
It's a pity.
Yeah. But that's it, really. That was all I've got to say. And then it was just any other business. You two can just whatever you want to say, really.
Well, we're on an hour and 20. We're going to want to make something that people might want to watch. So if it's like War and Peace in film, then I don't know, might be a bit off-putting. We have rambled on a bit.
We have, but what I hope people take from this is, listen, Kev, we all know me and you don't always see eye to eye and we fall out and we disagree on things. But the bottom line is, Kev, honestly, all said and done, forget Soccer Manager, forget Game Worlds. You as a human being I respect and I think you're a good person. And that's it. And I think people get carried away with things a bit too much. This is pantomime.
They can do. I think some people go too far with the so-called banter, and I think it goes beyond banter at times. And it is like you use trolling for Mrs. Doubtfire. You and Mrs. Doubtfire don't get on. And I think that happens a lot. And I've certainly seen things I describe as stuff I describe as abuse, though.
Yeah, no, look, listen, Thumbs is a good guy, right? I told Nick to get Thumbs back in TFF. He's a good guy. He's a good manager.
I'm not talking about that, but I have seen abuse, certainly within the last couple of weeks, in the Facebook group and in the newsfeed. And plain and simple abuse. If you're going to say, sooner that spaz gets out of that club, the better. That's not banter.
No.
That's abuse, right? And I think that's too much. So.
I think some people confuse some abuse as well. They think if someone's getting criticised for how they're doing in the game, that's abuse. Some people think that. I'm not saying any of you think that, but some people think that. It's not abuse. It's highlighting. It's like, what did they do in Sky Sports if Chelsea lose 3 games in a row? Yeah. What's going to happen?
Kev,
the manager gets abused.
Kev,
you know what I mean?
You're good friends with the Nottingham Forest boss. Now, he doesn't like me. That's clear as day. I'm indifferent.
Oh, I think you two have fallen out. Yeah, I think because it happened in the newsfeed, didn't it?
Yeah, he's fallen out of me. I've not fallen out of him. I've got better.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever's happened, I saw it in the newsfeed.
I'll tell you why he doesn't like me, because in NWO he went for a job and I've said let's vote external. And the bottom line is, if somebody's not doing a good enough job, I won't be supporting them or advocating them to go to a better job. Now, the reality in my mind is Philip took over Scunthorpe, season 1, got relegated. The objective then was to go back up, so he packed the team out with a very high-rated old team, and they didn't go up. Now, I've said this many times before, if you're going to go down that approach, you need to get promotion, because if you don't, you're leaving the squad in quite a bad way. To then foul on 2 counts, to get relegated, then foul to get promoted. Why is he then getting a second division job at Forest? Not his problem, because nobody else went for it other than Daniel, so he won it by democracy. But
well, some people went for it, and then people just quit. Basically, they just gave up on the job. Like, you know, it got very messy, actually.
It did get a bit messy, that one.
That's not a personal slur on Philip. I wish him well in life, good health and all that, but I don't think he deserved to be manager of Nottingham Forest. I think he should have fixed it before he left. That's my opinion.
He's very lucky to get that job, to be fair. But then again, the candidates, you know what I mean, they pull out and that as well. I think as well, if you go for a job, you shouldn't be pulling out willy-nilly like that as well.
I agree. Yeah. To
be honest, what's the point, like, you know?
It was messy. It was messy the way it was done in the Facebook. There were a lot of things wrong with all of that. Yeah, lots of things.
Yeah, and that's why I quit the Facebook group was that night. People trying to influence the vote and stuff.
One of the things about you is if you're not happy and you don't agree, you vocalise it, and I respect that.
Well, yeah, I've come on here and I was well aware that it was going to be 2 against 1 on the whole.
Not in my eyes.
Changing the rules thing.
I tried to get Philip and Andrew Achilles on last minute, so it's never about ganging up on people.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to both of them as well. Get them on, both neither could do it. So.
And I don't think...
Yeah, that's fair enough.
We've talked about a raw subject. I don't think either Keith or I have attacked you tonight.
No,
I don't know. I don't think either of you have.
But
we've had a sensible discussion on it.
Yeah.
There's been no abuse here tonight or whatever.
What I was going to say was, I'm aware that lots of people probably don't like me because I put myself on these shows and I portray myself, and they might not like something about me. Or they might disagree with something I say, or what Keith says, or what Nick says. But what I find is a lot of people don't speak up. Now, they don't. Is there a fear?
That's a bit.
An awful lot of people keeping quiet a lot.
Like Kev actually said earlier on, there was quite a few people that didn't like the new rules. But I reckon there's a few of those people that haven't said a word about it.
I haven't heard them. So who are these?
One or two, but
I've heard from a few that don't like the rules.
But how have you heard?
But they haven't said it.
Kevin, one-to-one?
News feed or
possibly. I don't kind of keep track of every single way that I communicate with people. I can communicate with people with the chat or on Facebook or whatever.
Sometimes, in your opinion, would you say it's 50-50 split? The game was divided on this, or is the majority?
I've got no idea because over half the people don't say anything. Haven't said anything about it.
What can you do?
I think most people won't care either way because they're sort of a mid-table team and they're not in any danger of anything. They're unlikely to get a top job and they're unlikely to get sacked.
But then,
I think
what you're saying there is most people just care about their own little situation within the game world. But I try and think of the bigger picture, and
and that's fair enough. But it's
Kev,
either way, it has created a rift of sorts, and that can't be good.
Well, let's try and...
Yeah, it has created a rift. It's created a bit of bad blood amongst some people and whatever. It was bound to.
Not from me. I can separate real life and this game, but I do like this game, and TFF's my game world, my favourite game world, and I am passionate about it. It may only be a virtual soccer manager online game, but we've got to have something in life we're a bit... And I'm passionate about TFF. That's the way it is. So I'll voice my opinions, and if they upset people, then so be it. It's not personal, and I welcome everyone else being passionate, and like yourself and Thumbs and Andrew and I have had some really good conversations. He doesn't agree with a lot of things I say and do. Ali at times has criticised me or said things that he doesn't agree with. But I respect and I listen to people, and you should be able to have a difference of opinion and not fall out of each other.
Well, that's happened tonight, hasn't it? We've had a difference of opinion, and without any swearing and shouting.
Yeah. Hopefully, some people watching this can maybe comment on the video below, or they can comment in the news feed. Voice your opinion. You're not from me anyway. You're not gonna get shouted down because you might disagree with something I say. I want to hear from lots of managers, all the different managers. I want to hear what you think. It only improves the game world, doesn't it? If we get everyone a more balanced.
Yeah, there's no point having managers giving one-on-one opinions and then saying
anything.
That's a bit frustrating. Like, you know what I mean? Isn't it? It's it feels sneaky as well, or something.
It can be, but also if what I've seen sometimes is if someone does post something in the news feed, they just get shot down straight away.
Yeah, I agree with that, Kev. I do agree with that, and I've seen
because
that.
certain people are just there for a wind up or for whatever. So.
Well, yeah, but I know, but the problem is, one or two might be like that, but then you've 70 whatever odd managers who aren't like that.
Reasonable people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
they're just not the ones that that post
it. Muppet the other day, and I've just shrug it off.
Who?
Philip.
Who? Philip. Oh yeah. Remember that, yeah.
And Mrs. Doubtfire's calling me Crob every 5 minutes. You just got to laugh it off.
I like Crumbs better, actually.
Yeah, you like that, dear?
I like Crumbs. Yeah.
So, all right, lads, I think we'll wrap it up. It's been a long one, and it
has been a long one.
It would have been even longer if Captain America.
I don't know if we said anything, but it's been long.
Yeah. I'll get this uploaded, and can we please try and get some feedback from people? I don't just want to hear good video. I want to hear what you think.
Yeah.
What do people think in the newsfeed? I'm not interested in getting some praise. I don't care. Tell us what you think is the best way forward for TFF, and how can we continually improve the game world? Because I'm not one of these people that goes along the lines of it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think you can always keep tweaking and keep it moving, keep it progressing.
Yeah, you can evolve these game worlds. Like, it's not just, from day 1 to day 10. Like, you need to keep evolving and evolving, because that's how you improve it. Like,
Yeah.
Otherwise, these game worlds can get very stale, and we have to make sure it doesn't happen. That's all this is, really.
Yeah, we said it before. The more people that come on these shows, the better it is, because you come on and you. I haven't told Kev what he can and can't say tonight. He said whatever he wants.
Exactly. Yeah. So
and the same for anyone else that wants to come on. That's it.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up because I'm bursting for a pee.
On that note, lads.
All right, guys.
Thanks very much.
See you later.
See you later.
See you later. Bye.